Hi YouTube, welcome to the London Symphony Orchestra Masterclasses for the YouTube Symphony Orchestra. My name's Neil Percy and I'm the principal percussion player with the London Symphony Orchestra, and what we're here to do today is talk about the repertoire that has been set that you have to learn, which is hopefully going to get you into the YouTube Symphony Orchestra. How exciting is that? So we're going to get straight to it and we're going to go to the snare drum repertoire of Scheherazade, and we're going to go in with letter Q. So that was letter Q. And the problem is with taking things out of context is that we might think of these things as drum solos, which they're certainly not. Pretty much everything in Scheherazade, apart from a couple of bars in the third movement, is accompanimental. And here at Q, we're certainly accompanying the trumpet section and at this particular stage, the horn section, who have that very rhythm. So it's really, really important that we don't play too loudly so that we can hear what they're going to do. So what I might do in the first rehearsal, just so I can check balances, check to see how things lie, is I might just play a little bit down on that, and we might get something like this. So this would be where I might play for the first rehearsal. Now, at that dynamic, there's absolutely no problem with me being able to hear the horns, because remember, their bells are facing me anyway, and the amount of air that the trumpets are going to be putting through their instruments at that particular time will mean that I can hear them absolutely no problem. From there, then I can build it a little bit, build a crescendo into it, and make something of it. Now, in terms of maybe some exercises that might help you to prepare this, because obviously it's quite fast and can indeed go faster than that. So there's a couple of things that I think about when I'm playing the snare drum. First of all, to practice hands separately. So simple exercises like this, maybe 8 repeats with each hand. Maybe going to 16 with each hand. And also turning the rhythm on its head. So put the 8th note at the end of the phrase instead of the beginning. So you get something like this. I find those help a lot when we come to it. Also sticking. I see a lot of people who might favour a particular hand. They might be right-handed and want to lead all of the time with the right hand. In my experience, that can lead to problems, particularly, again, if the tempo is up there. So, as you'll see, my sticking is, I'm actually sharing the responsibility between the right and the left hands. So, my sticking slowly would be right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, and so on and so on. If you stick with a particular lead and the tempo really gets up there, and remember the tempo to this piece can change between the rehearsal and the show. Conductors are human too, and sometimes they get the bit between their teeth, and the tempo can be significantly faster. So we need to make sure that we're building in a safety margin to our playing, so that if the tempo is significantly increased, we're able to cope with it. So let's try it at a few different speeds. Let's try it a little bit slower. Etc., etc., and then maybe pretty quick. Now, of course, we could always go to doubles if the tempo is, quite frankly, ridiculous. I think it's fair to say that our horn and trumpet colleagues are going to have a problem before we do. But the thing to do is to always think about more than one way of preparing an excerpt. Because certainly when you come to play it for the first time with an orchestra, the conductor might get you to do something completely different, something that you haven't actually thought about. And if you've only thought about one way of how to play this, it can be difficult to implement on the gig with 75 colleagues watching you at that particular time. So the best thing to do is to think about a number of ways to play a particular excerpt so that if the conductor wants you to change in some ways, you can implement these changes straight away. So now we're going to look at letter N for Neil. And I'll play this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit. So at this particular point, at N, it's really, really important to know what you're playing with. Now you have the full bass section there, playing pizzicato E's, yum bum 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 bum. And I can tell you, certainly from my colleagues in the LSO, that when you get 8 bass players on full chat playing a pizzicato E, man, that's a sound. Put that together with the timpani, who's got a beautiful resonant instrument playing with great sticks. He has those notes as well. If we play a proper pianissimo, the sound of the snare drum will be completely and utterly lost. So this is a case in point of actually only using dynamics as a guide. As soon as I go into those semiquavers, I'm listening to see exactly where I want this to fit in the scheme of things. If there was one thing that Rimsky-Korsakov was, it was an unbelievable orchestrator. And he showed for the first time what was possible on this instrument and opened the door for many other composers that followed. So it's really, really important to use dynamics as a guide. They're not there to be adhered to religiously. So always use them as a guide. And as I said, when I get to that point, I'm really listening out to make sure that the sound that I've got is going to be perfect to help the basses and the timpani and just to rhythmically reinforce what they have. Yes, that's a little bit hotter than pianissimo, but I promise you, it won't be lost in the orchestration now by playing there. So that's something to think about. Don't always be too literal about the dynamics that are marked. So there you have it. I think it's really, really important to remember that Tchaikovsky's given us a beautiful palette here with which to try and get the best sound that we possibly can. As I said, you're in dialogue with flute and horn, and they'll be making such a beautiful, gorgeous sound that I think it's important for us to think about making really sweet sounds on the glockenspiel. This isn't about nasty attack. This is all about real sweet as honey notes, because that's what it should sound like. And again, very, very basic things. Just I'm playing on a pedal glock here, so I've obviously got the advantage of playing with a pedal, which many of you who will be uploading your video will probably be playing on a glock in a box, and I understand that. But I've got the advantage of having a pedal simply because I've played on an instrument like this for the last 20 years, so it's something that I've got used to. But we'll talk about later on the pedaling technique that I'm using. But if you're playing on a glock in a box, you're going to need to be really cute with your hand damping technique, because we don't want too many of these notes to ring into each other. So the very last phrase we play, we have something like this. Now that you can see that even though I have a pedal glock, I'm still using my hand to get rid of that D. If we don't damp those notes at all, we're going to get something like this, where you can hear all of those tones ringing on at the same time. That's at a point where we just want to hear the dominant seventh leading back to the big tune. So really, really important that we're clean with these notes. As I said, a lot of the time on the glockenspiel, I use a sort of a feathering technique with the pedal, where I'm just sort of feathering, ghosting, however you want to call it. I'm just sort of half dampening those notes as I play them, which just makes it a little bit cleaner. And then the one tone that you want to be there, the dominant seventh from the dominant seventh chord, is there. It's not going to be clashed with all these notes. which is not such a good thing. So once again, it's going to be really, really important that those of you who are playing on a Glock in a box are very, very canny about your hand damping technique. And as I said, enjoy it. This is such gorgeous music at this point, and as I said, we're trying to make really, really sweet sounds on the glockenspiel. So it's easy for me on a resonated instrument to see where I should be striking the instrument, because I obviously want the best sound that I can possibly get, so I'm going to play over the resonators. Possibly on a Glock in a box, sometimes you might be a little bit too near the node. It really is important that you're right in the playing zone at all times so that you can get the best possible sound. Now we come to Stravinsky's Firebird, and this is the excerpt from the complete ballet. I think it's fair to say that what I'm thinking about all the way through this is the 16th note subdivision, because this carries the whole momentum of this particular passage. And some of the writing is incredibly intricate, and the 16th note will be passed around the sections, clarinets, bassoons, etc., and it becomes incredibly frenetic. So it's really important right from the word go that we think about the 16th note subdivision. So right from where the cor anglais comes in with that tune, I'll be thinking for those 8 bars, so when I play my first entry, it should be absolutely in time. So you'll hear me sort of counting the 16th through this. I would certainly advocate that when you practice it, to get your metronome and have a 16th note subdivision. It helps, believe me. Again, really, really basic things like we spoke about in the Glock. Do practice slowly, making sure that you're always striking in the correct part of the note, so that when you come to play it faster, you'll have developed a degree of muscle memory that will lead you into the correct striking point. So when I say slowly, I mean even as slowly as this. Again, what's really, really important is the quality of the sound that we're trying to make. Even though this is a particularly frenetic passage, it's very easy to compromise the sound a little bit by getting a little bit too near the node. And you can hear that straight away. So do take care of business on that front. Also, don't become too eye dependent. I see a lot of players play it like this. Two things about that are not particularly great. First of all, you're putting a big target on the top of your head that the conductor is going to aim at when he can't see your eyes. It's absolutely important that whatever instrument you're playing, you're giving the conductor your eyes at all times. So not particularly good if your eyes are on the instrument all of the time, because you can't see any changes of tempo. And bear that in mind even when you're playing for an audition. Also, when your head's in this position, your ears are just full of xylophoneness. You're just getting the sound from your own instrument, where, as with all the other excerpts that we've looked at so far, it's absolutely crucial that your ears are absorbing the information that is coming from your colleagues. 8 bars before the Infernal Dance, we're likely to get something like this, where we need to give the conductor our eyes so we can see what he's indicating in terms of the accelerando. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you got something out of it, and I'm really excited and really looking forward to seeing all of your videos. So upload as many as you can, and I'll see you next time. Take care.